Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to the channel. Sorry for the little delay there, but we are back and we have another two-piece golf ball to review today. This one is the MaxFli StraightFli. So this one, a couple weeks ago, I did test the MaxFli SoftFli, which I thought was going to be more of your softer, squishier one, and it was. The numbers were okay. I mean, they weren't bad necessarily. I would say they were pretty decent numbers, but they just weren't anything spectacular. And in the two-piece golf ball market, I've tested enough now to where it's not really that great to just be passing anymore. Like there's enough great golf balls I've tested, whether it be the Cut Red or the Wilson Zip, that now unfortunately there's just too much competition there and you have to stand out. So with that being said, this is the two-piece from MaxFli that is called the StraightFli, and it's going to be a little bit more firmer. It's not going to be, the soft, squishy, bouncy. It's going to have a higher compression, maybe for a little bit faster swing speeds, more of your moderate to maybe like semi-high, something in there, more of a distance ball, more of a, you don't want it to go left or right. You just want to be able to put it down, hit it, and it goes straight. So we will be testing that. But first, let's get into the design of the golf ball as always, which MaxFli has kind of this new logo going on with this big circle in the middle. I like it. I like the new design. It's been really good. This one has a green number above it, which is going to represent the StraightFli. They all have different numbers depending on which model you get. I also recently tested the TriFli, which is an orange one. Overall, it does look a little cheap, the coating on the outside, and it definitely is. It's an iometer cover, so it definitely feels cheap. It looks cheap. You can just tell the way the shine is kind of hitting off the light. And then if we go around over here to the side, I love what MaxFli has done with their alignment tool as far as the new design here. This is awesome. It's a huge improvement over the previous one. And as you can see there, I mean, it's very big, vivid, bold. You can really line your ball up well. You can see it. It's just an awesome design. A lot of companies are moving towards stuff like this, and MaxFli kind of jumped ahead of the curve, which is awesome. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump out to the chipping and putting green, and let's see how we did there. All right, so out on the chipping and putting green with the MaxFli StraightFli today. Now, I expect this golf ball to be a little bit more firmer than its counterpart, which is the SoftFli, and I was definitely right about that. It definitely has more of a balanced feel to it. There's a click to it. You can definitely feel it. Miss hits definitely are apparent as well. You'll feel them on your fingertips a little bit, which isn't a bad thing. Actually, to be honest with you, I've been testing a lot of two-piece golf balls recently, and to be completely honest with you, it's kind of weird having the sponging effect every single time, whether you hit it good or bad. Sometimes I like a little feedback, so this actually kind of fits right in the range of what I like. So it feels really good to me. It's not a super loud click. It still comes off the club really nice. It's not like a firm, X-type golf ball. It's definitely more balanced in the middle, and I think it really is going to be more balanced for a variety of players opposed to just being the guys who really like the soft or really like the hard. As far as checkup goes, though, honestly, it doesn't check up a lot. Just normal chips off the green aren't going to get you any checkup. It does remind me in the soft as far as that regard. Pitches are fine. I mean, it checks up fine on pitches once you get to that point. But, and I did notice that off the green, if you do kind of open the face and cut it a little bit, you can get some reaction out of it, which is a little more than the soft, which I thought was surprising. I thought the soft would definitely spin more, but that doesn't seem to be the case. MaxFli seems to have some inconsistencies here. I know they are trying to work it out, but that's kind of where we're at the moment. But off the putter, the main thing I felt was kind of the similar feel as far as balanced. It does make a click. You definitely can feel it, but the bad part is that yes, it does have great forgiveness, but it actually feels the same whether you hit it off the middle or the toe. It feels the same either way, which unfortunately is not going to be good for beginners, because then if you hit it off the toe, you're not going to know it. In fact, even I couldn't tell. I had a very hard time determining whether I hit it good or solid. The ball still reacted the same, which is good, but it doesn't do good if you ever want to get better, as far as using a different type of golf ball. You might end up switching to a different golf ball and be like, whoa, why am I hitting off the toe every single time? Well, you never knew, because this golf ball responded the same both ways. All right, so with that being said, let's jump into these numbers now and see how we did. Before I do, I want to get into the feel of the golf ball real quick. So this golf ball does feel a lot firmer than its counterpart, the SoftFli. I would say it feels like it's right in the middle. It's not really firm or clicky by any means. It's definitely not soft. It's really right in the middle. It's got a really good balanced feel, and I actually really enjoyed it. I like a little bit of feedback with my shots. I would say in a perfect world, maybe it would be just a tiny bit softer than this, but this is pretty close. This is pretty close to what I like. So honestly, it has a really good feel to it, and the ball does seem to spring off the club. There's not a lot of delay. Sometimes when you have firmer golf balls, you feel like there's just like a delay. You hit the golf ball and it's sluggish off there, but I did not have that issue here. So hopefully the numbers will be good. So jumping into the 9-iron, we are looking at 93.7 for the ball mile an hour speed. That is an awesome number. Off to a great start. 129.4, almost hit the 130, which is great. Those numbers are pretty close, actually, to the soft, which doesn't surprise me. They both seem to compress well. And then 123.6 on your carry, and then a 22.6 launch. So it did launch decently high. 22.6 is a decently high launch, which is the case with a lot of two-piece golf balls, so it doesn't surprise me there. But honestly, those numbers are really good. That's a great start. Most of the time, the 9-iron with two-piece golf ball starts well, but let's see if it can maintain it. So getting into the 7-iron now, we are looking at 6,138 on the RPMs. That is pretty low when it comes to the spin off of a 7-iron. I usually, somewhere like 6,000 is more the low side, 7,000 would be your high side, and 65 in the middle is kind of like the average for what I usually get. So definitely on the low side, so it's not gonna spin on a green much, but it also is gonna give you more distance, which it is a distance ball, so that's kind of the point. 107.8 on the ball mile per hour speed. That is an awesome number. I love to see that. 162.7. Honestly, that is fantastic. That is really, really, really nice. 151.6, again, awesome, and a 17.9 launch. So that's about, for a 7-iron, that's more of a lowish mid-launch somewhere in there. Really good numbers right there. I mean, honestly, those are very impressive. I don't see that a lot. A lot of the time, there's a little bit of a drop-off, but honestly, so far, the numbers have been pretty top-notch for both categories. Let's jump into the hybrid now, and let's see if it continued there. Okay, so 3,167 on the spin RPMs. That is by far the lowest I've ever had with the hybrid, so there is not much spin to this golf ball. This golf ball is not going to be the kind that you want to stick to a green and hopefully have it come back at you. It's just not going to happen. It's a distance golf ball. It's meant to get you a little bit more distance, and honestly, being the fact that it's a little firmer and it doesn't have the spin, I'm going to guess it is for more moderate swingers to high swingers. It's not for the slow, because slow swingers actually do want more spin to get the ball up in the air so it gets a little bit more carry distance. This one doesn't have that. They expect you to be swinging decently hard, at least in the probably 80, 87 and up. I don't want to say 85, but 87, 88 and up probably is where they want you to be in an ideal world. And then 115.7 on the ball mile per hour speed, which is kind of average. I mean, nothing spectacular there. 185.2, which again, that's a little on the low side. 170.8, and then a 10.9 mile an hour launch. So that's a really, a launch angle, 10.9 launch angle. That's really low, so that's kind of the issue there. So I didn't really have any issues as far as the ball mile per hour speed or the spin. It's a distance ball. It just launched really low. So what that means is it can mean a number of things. The ball does have a tendency to launch low, but that's very low. So maybe I just wasn't hitting the hybrid very good. I don't think there's an issue there, though it seemed to compress well. So overall, those numbers are average, but I'm not really going to knock them too hard just because I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt this time. And last but not least, moving into the big stick, we are looking at 2,682 on the spin, which is very low for my driver. So again, this ball has been very consistent as far as what it's trying to do. Low spin on all the clubs across of it, which is really good. If you're going to do something, just be consistent. I don't really care one way or another, whether you have a lot of spin or low spin. It's not necessarily a bad thing either way, but just be consistent. 243.8 on the distance, which I'll be honest with you, that is just fantastic. That is a great number for my total distance. 134.6, excellent ball mile per hour speed, really jumps off the club. 223.1 and 14.7, which is a really good launch angle. I like it in that zone too. So really, the golf ball really found a good niche and is just launching well, and it has a good balanced formula there. So what I'm seeing from these numbers is, first of all, the soft just kind of had these okay to good numbers. This one has fantastic, which leads me to believe that the soft is going to be more for the 85 mile an hour and under crowd, if I had to guess, just because, again, the golf ball performed pretty decently. It was just, I think now in hindsight, looking at these numbers, I might have just been compressing it too much. But this golf ball, for my swing speed, which is about 90 mile an hour with a driver, it's right average swing speed for a guy. 90% of golfers fall in this range. This golf ball really performed well, and this one's for right in that zone. I would say probably even up to about 100 mile an hour, this golf ball would be really good for. Once you get to the 105 or 110, you might need something else, but in this range, you know, 87 to 100. This golf ball just really performs really well. I love these numbers. Let's go ahead and get to the durability real quick, and then we'll wrap up. Durability-wise, MaxFli always seems to do really well, and honestly, this is pretty good. The Golf Dotz on the side ended up getting scraped a little bit, but that's okay. The cover being cheap might have had something to do with that. But as far as the actual durability, you could clean this up and it would be fine. I don't feel any major abrasions. There is a couple scrapes, so it's not a perfect score by any means. There's a couple dogs here and there, but this is after about 60 shots, so honestly, this will get you probably through a full round before it needs another one. So probably a 3 out of 5, you know, just an average to good score. I would say good. You know, good, not great. Not masterful, but just good. So overall, who is this golf ball for? Well, guys, honestly, it's a two-piece golf ball. It's forgiving, semi. It's not like super forgiving by any means, but I would say it's for an intermediate player or a beginner who has decent ball striking. As long as you're, you know, 5 out of 10 times, or you know, 4 out of 10 times striking the iron pure, or at least really, you know, close to well, I think it's going to be a really good golf ball for you. It performs really well. It has a really good feel to it. If you prefer a really soft feel, it probably isn't for you, but if you're okay with a little bit of feedback, it does a phenomenal job. These numbers were great. It really did everything, especially for the price point too, because you're talking about a really good price point here at $19.99 a dozen, 2 for $35, and if you get them in a 4 dozen pack, you actually end up getting them for $60, which is $15 a dozen, which is a really good price point. Are there golf balls? I would argue the cut red being under $1 a golf ball would be pretty close to this in performance. It would be cool to see them go head to head, but overall still, it's a phenomenal, if you happen to be near a Dick's or a Golf Galaxy and you're needing a good two-piece golf ball that's just going to go straight and it's not going to really venture left or right on you, and you're not really worried about spin, this is definitely a good option to try. Guys, as always, keep watching and keep saving. I appreciate you being here. Until next time.